I really value growth and learning. In fact, growth and connection are my two core values, which I'm going to talk a little bit more about at the end. But there is a model that I really love that I think is important, and it's called the learning zone model. And really, it's pretty simple, but think about 3 circles. The inner circle is the comfort zone. It's where you feel safe and competent and in control, but it's also where growth tends to plateau because you're doing things that you already know how to do. Now, the next circle out is learning zone, and this is where healthy discomfort lives. You're stretching beyond what's familiar, maybe speaking up in a meeting or trying something new or having a vulnerable conversation, and you feel nervous, yes, but you're still grounded and you can breathe and you can reflect and you're at your edge and you're feeling uncomfortable. Now, the outside circle is the panic zone. Now, this is where it's too much, too fast. It's when discomfort becomes overwhelming. Now, in these panic zone situations, we might shut down, we might spiral into self-doubt, we might feel emotionally flooded. And in this zone, it's really hard to take in new information or integrate any learning because our nervous system is just trying to survive. And so here's the key. Growth happens in the learning zone, not in the panic zone. When we push ourselves too hard or too far, we are risking triggering some trauma responses that we may have had, or getting into a dysregulated state, or reinforcing a belief that doing hard things always equals harm. And so it is important to think about and know for ourselves where we really are. But growth does not happen unless you push yourself outside of the comfort zone. So how do you know what zone you're in? I think this is really where self-awareness and checking in internally with yourself becomes really crucial. Next time you're uncomfortable, try asking yourself, do I feel nervous or do I feel unsafe? Am I still breathing or am I holding my breath? Does this feel like fear of the unknown or does this feel like panic or shutdown? And maybe think about, put yourself in a situation where you did the thing. Ask yourself, will I feel proud after this or will I just feel relieved that it's over? I think those questions can help us tell the difference between a growth edge and maybe something that might be a little bit deeper. For me, the goal isn't to live outside of the comfort zone 24/7. It's not realistic and it's not healthy, but the goal really is to build capacity to stretch into that learning zone when it really matters, especially, and when it aligns with who you want to become. If I want to become someone who has difficult conversations, who shows up in a way that's grounded and confident, then I have to stretch myself outside of my comfort zone to start having difficult conversations. If I want to be able to speak my mind, then I have to start building that muscle. And we have to learn to trust ourselves enough to pull back when it isn't aligned with who we want to become. So discomfort can be a path to growth, but only when it's paired with kind of self-compassion and support and discernment. And that discernment gets sharper every time we check in with ourselves, see what is happening inside of our body, listen to what is happening inside of our body, and think about questioning the thoughts that you're having. Is this real or is this just a story that I'm telling myself? Am I experiencing an emotional discomfort or am I projecting a bunch of feelings onto a situation that aren't really factual? Now, one thing that I have done that I've really pushed myself outside of my comfort zone is around this idea of learning storytelling and working on my craft of public speaking and storytelling and keynote speaking. And it's something that I've wanted to do more of for a while now. And so a couple of years ago, I set out to get better at it. And I did a couple of things that were really scary that really helped me grow. One of them was doing a speaking intensive with an organization called Fearless Communicators. I actually did an episode with Eduardo Placer early on in this show, but we had to go into a room on a Saturday. And all day Saturday and all day Sunday, we're learning new skills, we're crafting our talk, and we had to then, by Thursday of that same week, 6 days later, deliver a finished talk that was about 15 minutes long, so TEDx length, about us, about something about our story. Like we didn't even have a topic walking in. We kind of let it emerge. And I walked into this 6-day intensive knowing that it was going to be really hard and really scary and really uncomfortable, and knowing that at the end of it, I was going to be extremely proud of myself. And of course, there was fear along the way that I would get to Thursday and crash and burn, but it was something that I really wanted to do for myself, and it made me so much of a better speaker. The other thing that I've done in the last couple of years on that same note is getting up on the stage to do a talk at the Moth. And if you're familiar with the Moth, you know exactly what it is. If you're not, it's 5-minute storytelling on stage. And you don't know if you're going to get picked. You just put your name in the hat when you go to the events and you have your story ready and there's a theme. And I went actually on my second attempt to get on the stage, got on the stage and told the story. And let me tell you, that was probably the most nervous that I've ever been. I thought I was going to throw up or pass out, but I was so proud of myself when I did it. And was it perfect? Absolutely not. But it was something that I really, really value the experience in doing, and proved so much to myself that now I can do a lot of other things that are difficult and I will be okay.